So, are you guys ready for your first story of the evening? Tonight's first storyteller is Darielle Lewis Sanders, who is a second year PhD student in neuroscience at the Icahn School of Medicine in Jinyei Day's laboratory. Outside of the lab, Danielle enjoys anything that involves creativity. So please put your hands together for Darielle.
Oh, goodness. Hello. So, has there ever been a situation where anyone made you feel kind of stupid? Like they had a personal vendetta against your intelligence? Anyone? Yeah? Okay. Well, yeah, same. And let me tell you, it is one of my biggest pet peeves. And this is not to say that I don't do stupid things. Like, I still leave my keys at home, and I still have to make the little L every time I'm going left to right. But now I try to be smoother with it. Well, I'll put it there or something. But it's really because I think that I was trained to not want to be stupid when I was a kid. I mean, I grew up around incredibly intelligent adults, and in fact, all the women in my family have graduate degrees. Yeah, woo! But not woo for me because I'm the baby of that family. So I basically had several generations of women who relied on me to not embarrass them and look stupid in the wild. And you may be thinking, oh my goodness, that's so much pressure. It's okay to be mediocre. Yeah, okay. You try telling that to my mother that birthed me while getting her master's degree and having a full-time job, or my grandmother who defended her dissertation at 8.5 months pregnant. Yeah. So, and my grandmother, for that matter, her grad degree was in childhood education, and unfortunately for me, I was the most accessible subject. Mm-hmm. So really, what that means is I had a library full of books before I could remember. My diction was constantly corrected and penmanship criticized, although that has not changed. And even now, I shudder every time I see a red pen mark because she would have me turn in my homework to her the night before it was due so she could correct it. Yeah, so I would, before I brought it back to school. So basically, I was a perfectionist by force, or at least somebody who had the illusion of intelligence. But can I be honest that this was actually really good training to become a scientist, because we're basically all cosplaying as intelligent people. Mm-hmm. When, at least for things outside of our field, we kind of don't really know what's going on. And I think the biggest challenge to this is going to like a conference or something. I love conferences. They are spectacular. You are in this environment where you're learning a variety of subjects over several days, and it is wonderful. And I remember the first conference I went to, I walk in, and there are people doing discoveries in their labs, and they're giving these new behavioral paradigms that are absolutely robust. But the reality is, the first couple days, I don't know what anyone is saying. So, of course, I have a lot of questions. But also, of course, I'm not going to raise my hand and ask them, because what's worse than looking stupid in front of a person? Raising your hand and looking stupid in front of 50 of them. So I developed this really cool strategy where I would just go up to the speaker after their talk and just ask them my questions personally, but obviously only if I was brave enough. And I remember at this particular conference, I told my PI, my mentor, about like how super awesome and cool I am because I'm hiding my stupidity. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going up to them after. And she gives me this lovely advice. And she's like, oh, Darielle, it's okay. Like, you're a trainee. You are allowed to ask stupid questions because you're just starting your career. I'm like, okay, that's an opinion. So I basically just ignored her setup for failure. Although, one time I did go up to a speaker and ask them a question. And he said, oh, wow, you're asking the same question that a Nobel laureate asked me. And so I was like, oh, I probably should have asked that in front of people in case anyone from the Nobel Committee was around to experience my intelligence. I don't know. But it was an absolutely wonderful experience, and so wonderful that I wanted to share with my lab when I got back home some of the things that I discovered or, saw. And there was this one task in particular that I thought was so smart. I wish I had done it and thought about it, but obviously I was a trainee, so I didn't, think of anything. And it was this beautiful task to test the hierarchy in a cage of animals where all you need is a tube and the animals, and you put the animals in the tube facing each other, and the dominant animal never goes backwards because if you're the big boss, you don't go backwards. So you can kind of see what level each animal is in the hierarchy. And so I could not, for the life of me, remember the name of this task, but I really wanted to share. Thankfully, there was this guy in my lab. He did his undergraduate research in the lab that presented this. So I was like, oh my gosh, a resource. I'll just ask him. So I start the lab meeting. I tell everyone about this task, and I'm like, you have got to know what it's called. And so he turns to me and he says, I think that's social defeat stress. So for context, I actually got my master's mostly studying social defeat stress, and also was recently on the paper where the main technique was social defeat stress. So I said, oh, no, I don't think it's social defeat, trying to exercise politeness. And so then I hear this one little, are you sure it's not social defeat stress? I'm like, so for those of you who don't know what social defeat stress is, like my friend here, it's basically when it's this very robust social bullying almost paradigm where you put your experimental animal in the home cage of this bigger, more aggressive animal, kind of a bully. And you can end up testing these two different phenotypes or behaviors, an animal that is resilient, so more willing to go up to someone that may look like the bully, or someone who is avoidant, who kind of backs down from the bully. So let's see which one I am. So I go up. So I say, no, I really don't think it's social defeat stress. And then I hear are you sure? I'm pretty sure it's social defeat stress. And then my eyes blind from the fluorescent, kind of like these, from the fluorescent lights in the room, and there's just this fiery rage that builds up from my gut, and then out of my mouth I say, no, I'm pretty confident it's not social defeat stress, but I can tell you what it is. Thankfully, my PI interrupts me because she can see that I'm contemplating the professionalism of backhanding him. But the reality is I had this almost visceral reaction to this guy kind of insulting something I thought I knew. And he probably went home and had dinner, I don't know, meditated, didn't care about anything. But I felt like I was disappointing my ancestors by allowing this, I'm serious, by allowing this guy to insult something that I thought I knew. And kind of in that moment, I realized even when you are assured about your knowledge, sometimes you can't get rid of the idea that someone may just doubt it. So I still love conferences. He didn't ruin it for me. And even now, sometimes I'm brave enough to raise my hand and ask questions at them. Although nowadays, you know they're giving away money to people who ask the best question at conferences? They are. They're giving away real money to people who ask the best questions at conferences. And now I'm $25 richer.
Keep it going for Darielle.
That was brilliant.
That was amazing. Oh my goodness.